Hello, welcome to this section of the software engineering series. In this lesson, we'll be looking at use case diagram. As part of this lesson, we'll be looking at what a use case diagram is, the importance of use case diagram, components of a use case diagram, and how to draw a use case diagram. So now let's begin. What is a use case diagram? A use case diagram is a diagram used to depict a system with its functions and various users that performs those functions. A use case diagram is a graphical depiction of users' possible interaction with a system. So with use case diagram, the general idea is to identify various functions or the functional requirements of a system and then the various roles that performs these functions. Do you get it? So with use case diagram, example being that taking a normal shop can have a sales executive and then the manager. So with the sales executive, he is responsible for making sales. So that is the role the sales executive has been assigned to. And then with the manager, he is responsible for adding products, updating products, and then viewing sales reports. So use case diagram focuses on identifying various functions and then various rules that performs those functions. So let's look at the importance of use case diagram. So one, to identify functions and how roles interact with them. So as I first said, identifying various functions within a particular system or a particular software and then the various rules that performs those functions. So sales executive has been assigned to the function of performing daily sales, whereas the manager has been assigned to the function of viewing daily sales reports or weekly sales reports. Then the next one is for high level view of the system. So when you pick the view of the system or you pick the entire system, you can see the various functions that the system entails and then the various roles within the particular system. So that is the high level view of the system. And then the next one is determining the specific needs of the software. So with the use case diagram, it helps you to identify the core functions of the software. Now let's move on to look at the components of a use case diagram. So the diagram over here depicts how a use case diagram looks, or there is an example of a use case diagram. So let's look at the various components that makes up a use case diagram. So the first one we will talk of is an actor. The actor is an entity that interacts with the system. So it can include people as well as other systems. You get it? And then it is represented by these over here, this shape over here. So it has this thing and then the name of the actor on it. So if it is a customer, you draw this one, then you write customer underneath. The next one we will be looking at is a use case. So use case represents the distinct functionality of the system. Do you get it? So the distinct functionality. So when it comes to an online store, we can talk of placing order, cancelling order, or managing order. These are the distinct functionality, or these are the core functionalities. So it is represented in an oval shape with the functionality written in it as depicted over here. And then the next one we will talk of is a system. So the system is used to define the scope of the use case and drawn as a rectangle. So the system stands for the entire software or the entire program or the entire system you are actually developing. So it is represented in the form of a rectangle. So the system should comprise these functionalities. Now let's look at how to draw the use case diagram. So in drawing the use case diagram, the first thing you have to do is to first identify the various functions of the system. Do you get it? You first identify the various functions, then you identify the various actors, and then from there you map the various actors to the various functions. So let's take an online store as a case study. So taking an online store, let's first identify the core functionalities of the online store. So the first one we can talk of is placing of orders, managing of orders, cancelling orders, and then changing order status, and then adding products and updating products. So these are the core functions of an online store. So after we've done identifying the functions of the online store, let's now move on to identify the various actors. So with the various actors, we can talk of the customer and then the administrator or the system administrator. Now that we've been able to identify our functions and our actors, let's move on to draw the use case diagram. So in drawing the use case diagram, the first thing you have to do is to draw the rectangle, which stands for the system. You have to first draw the rectangle, which stands for the system. And after you are done drawing the system, the next thing you have to do is to draw your various use cases. So the use case is an oval shape with a functionality in it. So over here, the first function is placing order. So you draw the oval shape, then you write place order in it. The second one is manage orders. So you draw the oval shape with manage orders in it. So that is what you do for the rest of the functions. And then after you are done with the use cases, you draw the various actors. Over here, the actors are the customers and then the administrator. So you first draw the objects, then you write the name under it. So this stands for the customer and then that of the administrator. So now that you are done doing this, you map the actors to the various functions they perform. So placing order, it is a customer that places an order. So you map it from the customer to the order. And then from there, managing orders. So a customer can manage orders he or she places, and then as well as cancel the orders he or she places. So basically within the system, these are the functionalities allocated to a customer. And then from there, we move on to that of the administrator or the system administrator. So with the system administrator, he can manage orders. So if a customer places order, he can manage the various orders the customer places, as well as cancel an order placed by a customer. And then he can change the order status, being it pending or delivered. He can also add products and then update products. So basically, this is how a use case diagram is drawn. So you first identify your various functionalities, and then after identifying the various functionalities, you look out for your various actors. And then after identifying the various actors, you map them. You map the functions to the actors, or you map the actors to the functions. So in drawing, you first draw your rectangle, which stands for the system. After that, you add your various use cases, that is an oval shape with the various functionalities in it. From there, you draw your actors, that is the various people affected by the system or the various people who are going to use the system. And then you map the actor to the various functionalities. Thank you for joining this session. We'll end here. If you find this content very useful, kindly hit on the subscribe button below. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.